Emma Thompson's Sense and Sensibility is one of the great literary adaptations of our time, but it is also something even more profound, a testament to heartbreak, resilience, and the healing power of storytelling. Today, I want to tell you the story behind the film, not just the story of Eleanor and Marianne Dashwood, but of Emma Thompson herself, how she turned her personal pain into art, and how she unexpectedly found true love with Greg Wise, who in one of life's sweetest ironies, played her sister's love interest on screen. In the early 1990s, Emma Thompson was one of the brightest talents in British film. She had won an Oscar for Howard's End, and was acclaimed as an actress of remarkable intelligence and emotional depth, but her personal life was coming apart. She was married to Kenneth Branagh, the so-called golden couple of British theatre and film. They had worked together on multiple projects, but by the time she began writing the Sense and Sensibility screenplay, their marriage was breaking down. Branagh was having an affair with Helena Bonham Carter. Emma Thompson later spoke about that time as one of devastation and betrayal, a period when she felt hollowed out and lost. And so she turned to writing. She had been asked by producer Lindsay Doran to adapt Jane Austen's Sense and Sensibility for the screen. It was no easy task. The novel is subtle, quiet, filled with social commentary, and much of its power lies in unspoken feeling. Emma Thompson worked on the script for over 5 years, drafting and redrafting, trying to capture Austen's voice while making the story cinematic. She kept notebooks filled with jokes, period slang, and structural notes. She was determined not to flatten the novel into costume drama cliché. What is so remarkable is that while she was writing Eleanor Dashwood, the older sister who must suppress her feelings, who suffers heartbreak in silence, Emma Thompson was living that exact pain. She later said she understood Eleanor because she herself was trying to maintain composure while her life fell apart. You can see it in her performance, every strained smile, every moment of controlled emotion. When Eleanor breaks down and sobs at the end, confessing she has been at war with herself, it feels real because it was. Emma Thompson put her own heartbreak into that role. The filming of Sense and Sensibility brought together an extraordinary cast. Kate Winslet as the impulsive Marianne, Alan Rickman as the gentle, steady Colonel Brandon, Hugh Grant as the shy Edward Ferrars, and Greg Wise as the dashing, ultimately unreliable John Willoughby. Greg Wise was cast as the handsome romantic foil who breaks Marianne's heart. Off-screen, he was known for being charming and a little roguish himself. But what is beautiful about this story is how it turns the fiction on its head. While Greg Wise played the man who seduces and abandons Kate Winslet's character, he found himself drawn to Emma Thompson. They became close friends during filming. At first, Emma did not imagine anything would happen. She was still reeling from the end of her marriage. She felt unlovable, fragile, convinced her romantic life was over. Greg Wise, however, saw her clearly. There is a famous story he tells about going to a psychic who told him he would meet his future wife on the set of Sense and Sensibility. At first he thought it must be Kate Winslet. She was closer to his age. She was playing his love interest. But over time he realized it was Emma. He admired her intelligence, her humor, her kindness. He could see the vulnerability she tried to hide. Emma Thompson later said she was deeply moved by how gently he treated her, how he seemed to see past the damage to the person she still was underneath. Their friendship turned into something deeper. They fell in love slowly, carefully. Emma described it as a kind of rescue. Greg Wise became the person who helped her believe in love again, who reminded her she was not broken beyond repair. They married in 2003, years after Sense and Sensibility was released. They adopted a son from Rwanda and raised another child together. Over the decades, they have remained one of the most quietly devoted couples in British film. When you watch Sense and Sensibility knowing all this, it takes on another layer of meaning. You see Emma Thompson as Eleanor, holding herself together while her heart breaks. You see Greg Wise as Willoughby, the man who breaks a young woman's heart on screen. And you know that in real life it was the opposite. He was the one who stayed, who waited, who offered love to someone who did not think she deserved it. The film itself is about this very contrast, about the difference between flashy, unreliable passion and the slow, steady growth of true love. It is about being seen. being chosen, even after heartbreak, even after betrayal. Emma Thompson's screenplay captures Austen's wit and subtlety, but it also carries the weight of her own experience. That is why it feels so real, so cutting, so compassionate. Emma Thompson has spoken honestly about how writing Sense and Sensibility helped save her, how it gave shape to her grief and allowed her to find humor again. It is in many ways one of the greatest examples of art not just imitating life, but helping to heal it. And Greg Wise's love was part of that healing. It is one of those rare true stories where real life gives us the happy ending the film itself promises. If you have not watched Sense and Sensibility in a while, watch it again with this in mind. Watch Emma Thompson's eyes when Eleanor breaks down. Listen to the words she wrote herself, drawing on her own heartbreak. Remember that behind those scenes was a woman trying to hold herself together while everything was falling apart. And know that off-screen the man who played the scoundrel was actually falling in love with her, waiting for her to heal, and offering her the truest kind of romance. It is a story of pain transformed into beauty, of loss giving way to hope, and of real, enduring love growing out of the most unexpected places. It is the kind of romance even Jane Austen would have approved of. If you enjoyed this story, please consider subscribing for more explorations of film, love stories, and the timeless power of human connection. Until next time, keep your petticoats pressed and your hearts in peril.